Hey, what's good? Good to see you. Back again. Today we're talking about the MXR clone looper. In my view, the MXR clone looper is an underappreciated and underutilized pedal. I think it's a cut above the Boss RC1, which you can see right here. And that's also reflected in its price too, because the clone looper is a little bit more expensive typically. And I think it's more along the lines of the Ditto X2. And in fact, when you look at these two pedals, you can see that they even kind of follow the same design pattern. I don't know if MXR followed TCE or vice versa, but either way, they kind of have a similar vibe. The main difference between those two loopers is that the Ditto X2 has stereo inputs and outputs, and it has the ability to play and store backing tracks, whereas the MXR clone looper does not. So in terms of how you power this thing, just a standard 9-volt DC like every other pedal nowadays. I prefer using my Voodoo Labs Pedal Power 3, which is on my board right now. And there is no battery capacity for this pedal. It's power supply only. So in terms of where I'm gonna put it in my signal chain, like every other looper, I'm gonna put it at the very end of my chain in the effects loop as well. In the effects loop, I'm gonna put it almost at the very end. Now in my case, I'm gonna use a volume attenuator in my effects loop, or I would put a noise gate at the end of my chain in front of my amp. In most cases, it's gonna be dead last. And the reason why I think using the looper in the effects loop is the best way to go is for a simple reason, and it's that you can play over your loops dry or wet. So when you disengage all of your effects off your loop, you can essentially pull all the effects off your tone, and then your loop will still have the effects on it, and vice versa. Because if you do it the other way, if you have your looper in any other place in your signal chain, what ends up happening is that like you take your effects off, well, the effects will be off the loop as well. So if you want to jam over your stuff dry or wet, you're going to want to put it in the effects loop, or you're at least going to want to put it at the very end of your chain. So first things first, here's your volume. This controls the volume of your loops, of course. So we're going to start out like that. And to record a loop, you just hit the record dub button like this. Now, it's very important that you hit the record button right as you start playing, and then right when you're about to begin a new phrase, as if you were playing it, you hit the play button like this. And that will give you a totally seamless loop. So again, you want to hit play or stop to stop recording your loop, or to just play. That gives you total control, just like with the Ditto X2 looper. Now what about if you want to overdub? Well, if you want to overdub, you hit play, and then you just hit the record button again. And then you hit play when you're done. That was trash. What I played was trash, but you get the idea. So what if you want to undo that trash loop that you just made? What you do is you hold the play button. So that undid the last loop that we did. See, it's gone now, but if you, to bring it back, to redo the loop, you hold it again, the play button. And then it's back. So let's get rid of it, because I don't like it. Now, what if you want to silent delete? Like, what if you want to get rid of your loop, but you don't want to play it again? Well, one way of deleting the loop is just to hold the record button, the record dub. But the other way to do it is actually to hold the volume down for 5 seconds. And then when it flashes red like that, you hit that. And there, now it's gone. There's no loop loaded in this thing. So let's try something again. So again, as a demonstration, let's record something. So if you want to begin playing your loop back and you don't want to hit play, you can just hit the record button again, like this. So there we go. Now keep in mind, what this looper does is that it will flash 4 times to let you know that your loop is coming to an end. So pay attention. There we go. Let's record something over that again now too. And yes, if you're asking, is there unlimited overdubs? There is. So you can just go on and on and on and it'll work just fine. So what about the expression pedal now? Well, with the expression pedal, let's plug it in. Let's plug it in right here. I don't have enough room here. You can probably see it on the camera. I got it right here. This is the expression pedal. So now this expression pedal, this M Audio expression pedal, it's not meant for the clone looper, but it will work sufficiently. And I'll show you what I mean by that right now. More volume, right? So yeah, it works just fine. Now, if you plug that expression pedal into the control jack, you're gonna have some problems. It's not gonna work right. It's gonna do all kinds of funky shit that you're not really looking for. So I don't recommend it. Unfortunately, I don't have the tap tempo control switch that you would use for this. And I don't have any other switches that are made for it. So I can't show you that. But yes, you can control this externally with a foot switch via the control jack. So what about the reverse feature? Well, I'm gonna hit play. Now let's hold the volume knob for 2 seconds. Sounds pretty dope, right? I like it a lot. I don't know about you, but I love reverse. I think reverse is such a cool effect. Now, essentially, to undo that effect, what you want to do is you just hold it again for 2 seconds. There. There, then it's back to normal. So what about if you want to engage half speed? Well, you're going to hit play on your loop again. Then you just hit the volume knob 1 time. Now it's half speed. Something about that sounds kind of sexy. I don't know why. But so again, to undo it, what you do is you hit the volume button again. So what about if we want double speed instead? We want it to sound like some techno dance type shit. What you hear is you hit play. We're gonna hit the volume knob twice fast. And then again, to undo it, you just hit the same function again. So yeah, man, this pedal's dope. Not enough people are talking about this as a looper. I think it's a fantastic looper that's capable of doing a lot. Additionally, it actually has true bypass and buffered bypass control, and you control that with the volume switch as well. So what you do is you take the power out, right? And then you hold your volume like so, hold it, and then you plug in the jack next. And now that will switch the buffered bypass and true bypass. So yeah, man, cool stuff. So what else should you know about this bad boy? Well, one thing is that for whatever reason, when you plug the jack in, the expression pedal jack into this thing while it's turned on, for whatever reason, it will disengage the old loop. I don't know why that is. For example, like let's plug it in right now. Of course, now is the time that it proves me wrong. But usually what ends up happening is it'll actually stop working. So let's unplug it. Now let's do it. And you'll notice that the play doesn't work, right? So I'm not sure why that is, why it does that. Anyway, you get the idea. By the way, I created a cool PDF cheat sheet for this thing. It's like a list of all the controls in a very organized fashion. That way you don't have to go around looking for stuff. So what you do is you go to travelingguitarist.com/fretboard cheat sheet. That's gonna take you to my list where you can download not only my fretboard cheat sheet, but also you're gonna get the PDF for how to use this thing. And I think it's worth mentioning too that I actually spilt coffee on this thing not that long ago, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And what I did to fix that is I put it in a bag of rice and I left it there for like a couple days. And then I didn't use it again for like 6 months or something like that. I assumed it was totally ruined. And then one day I decided to pull it out of the box and give it another try. It worked. It worked totally fine. There's not a thing wrong with it. Ultimately, I'm pretty happy with this looper. Do I need to keep it though? I mean, I've had it for 2 years. I would say I don't need to keep it because I have the RC5, but I think the MXR clone looper is an RC1 killer. And I also think it's very comparable to the Ditto X2 in terms of everything that it can do. And I mean, trying to get your hands on a Ditto X2 these days is almost impossible. I had to get mine from eBay for like $220 or something like that. But I feel like if you want the experience of the Ditto X2, I would highly recommend just getting the MXR clone looper. It's going to be way easier to get, and it's probably going to cost you less money as well. So that's it.